This is the Red Podcast.
This is episode number 82. It's part 2 of our 2-part series on entrepreneur rules you must live by or else. If you've got your own business or you want to, listen up. That's next on this episode of the Red Podcast.
This is the Red Podcast. Real entrepreneur development. Make more money, work less, and live a life of freedom. No BS advice that really works. Here's your hosts, David Hooper and Laurel Staples.
Coming to you from the hottest place in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Red Podcast. This is the hottest place. Red Studio, the Red Room.
It's not as warm as it should be.
We've got all this equipment in here. We've got lighting, and it's probably the warmest place in our home. It has been freezing in Nashville. Just a few days ago, you and I were out walking around the neighborhood. We were saying to ourselves, man, it sure is great. We've got this long fall, this extended fall. We're just going to breeze right through winter, but didn't happen.
No, we went from like 65-degree days of sunny fall colors to freezing snow.
Below freezing.
Yeah.
And you've been staying inside. Like I was outside doing workouts, 28 degrees.
I was hiking while you were working out.
On the ground.
I was not hiking on the
doing
ground.
Push-ups. I thought I had frostbitten hands.
Well, it has been cold. You're even wearing a hat right now, and I'm wearing long underwear. So this studio is not as warm as it should be, but it is warmer than the rest of our house.
Just the red hot content of real entrepreneur development, what I call personality marketing. It's by bringing your personality and the personality of your products to the forefront so you become famous within your industry and beyond. We've been doing it for a while. We're doing it right now with Laurel's new company, Love Your Face. Go to lyface.com for more information about that. And if you're interested in really going deep, we've got a special offer for you right now. We're putting together a mastermind coaching program. It's very exclusive. That probably doesn't do it justice. 7 people we're looking for the new year. We call it Red 3X. And I've been doing a series of special episodes you might have heard that talk more about the type of people that we're looking for and what we're going to cover. If you are interested in what it takes to progress in your business, if you're interested in what it takes to make more money, and very specifically, live the life that you want on your terms, Red 3X may be for you.
This is getting started in January 2015, but we're taking applications right now because we really are looking for the right people that are willing to put in the work that it takes.
Absolutely. We don't want just everybody. You've probably seen these programs that they claim are exclusive or available for a short amount of time, and then you get involved with them, and it's some kind of group thing. You've probably seen a lot of these things where you go through a checkout process. Anybody can get involved. You get in the website. There's dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds of people, and there's not a lot of in-person contact. This is really, really working with us, me and Laurel, 2 people that are in the trenches just like you are, to help you grow your business, live that life of freedom. There's one-on-one participation with us. There is a group element. There's even a live element. So if you're interested in that, we're taking applications now, redpodcast.com/apply. If we think you're a match, we'll be in touch. There'll be an in-person interview, and we can go from there.
This episode is part of a 2-parter episode that we're doing on entrepreneur rules, do this or else. The other part of this series is at redpodcast.com/81. You can hear the beginning of this, and we're just going to continue on those rules today.
So rule number 7, don't have an empty store.
This is something that has come up a lot through the coaching that I do with clients. Is I've seen a lot of people that have maybe a blog, for instance, and they've been blogging for a while and they're not selling anything. They're not making any affiliate sales. They have no products, no services. So what that's like is if you rent a space in your local town and set up a store, and you're showing up to this retail store every single day, and customers are coming in, but you don't have any products on the shelf. You have a completely empty store, but you're putting all this time and energy and effort towards getting people to your store. You're working in your store all day long. You're interacting with people, but you're not making any money. You're not selling anything. So that's the number one rule for entrepreneurs, in this case is don't have that empty store. You want to have a product or service to sell before you start getting people in there.
And sometimes people don't know when the best time to actually unleash a product is. They don't know when the best time to come out and offer something. And I'm going to refer you back to lesson number 6, which was on the previous podcast, redpodcast.com/81. Rule number 6 is do it now. There's never a perfect time. Perfect time is today. Don't have an empty store.
There's been a lot of information on you got to build your audience and build your blog and do this and do that before you come out with a product or before you start a service. You got to get your traffic up. I just disagree with that so much. You have to figure out a way to get money into your business to be able to have a business.
I like your analogy, don't have an empty store. If you were to start a business in the real world, in the brick and mortar world, you would have the store first before you had any customers. You wouldn't just expect people to show up the first day. You put the store up and then you get them to come. And somehow that got flipped on its head when more people went online.
I agree. You have to look at this in the right way. Not everyone has the empty store syndrome, but a lot of people do. And another mistake that people make is they have their empty store, say they have a blog and they're working really hard on the blog, not selling anything. So they decide to sell something and they just look at the other stores that are around them. Say you're surrounded by 6 shoe stores and you're an empty retail store, and then you just fill your store full of shoes. Well, nobody's going to come to your store because it's the same as everyone else's store. So don't have an empty store, but when you do fill up your store, make sure it's something different than what everybody else is offering.
Absolutely. With everything being one click away on the internet, there's no reason to go for what's the equivalent of a cover band when you could go for the original.
Number 8 is put yourself first.
When you fly in an airplane, when the flight attendant is giving this safety procedure, if you've paid attention to that, she tells you to put your mask on first before you take care of anybody else. And the reason she does that is because you only have a very, very short amount of time before you pass out, and then you're not going to be able to help anybody. Your business is the same way. You really need to put yourself first. You are not a martyr. And if you don't have electricity in your house and your shop isn't up and running like it should be, and you're not taking care of yourself like you should, you can't help other people to take care of themselves like they should.
That was something I also learned at backpacking camp years ago. Is we were out in the middle of the woods on this 3-week backpacking trip, and that was some of their guidance is if something happens, you have to take care of yourself first because you can't help anybody if you're dead. And that's the same in business is you have to take care of yourself. You have to put yourself first, not just your business, but yourself, your personal needs. I mentioned in the last episode that exercise is something on my to-do list right now because that's something that needs to happen in my schedule every single day. So do put yourself first, put your needs first before other people if you want to survive in this industry.
What kind of backpacking trip were you on?
A 3-week backpacking trip.
Where?
It was in North Carolina, through the North Carolina mountains. It was awesome.
And there were bears there or something?
There were not bears.
Cliffs for you to fall off?
There might have been bears, but we didn't see any bears.
What kind of danger were you in?
They said if somebody got hurt, if somebody fell off a cliff or something happened, or say it got really cold, they said don't take off your sweatshirt and give it to somebody else. Then you're going to be exposed to the elements and then you're going to freeze to death. You have to be warm to help somebody else. So,
yeah. And if they've fallen off a cliff, there's nothing you can do. Just keep on going, man. What are you going to do? They're already dead.
That is not true. If they break an arm or something like that, there were some rules. Just because you haven't spent a lot of time in the woods, David, doesn't mean that other people haven't. David spent more time on a plane. So what? So you know how to tie a knot. I know how to sell a Girl Scout cookie.
I know how to eat a Girl Scout cookie.
Well, selling is better for entrepreneurs than tying knots.
Unless you got some kind of bondage company.
You're not really saying that.
Number 9, beware of the social media time suck. This is not work. Laurel loves to make fun of my music business examples from having spent 20 years in the music business, but this is when I first started noticing the social media time suck. Musicians really loved MySpace, and somehow they got it in their heads that sitting around clicking on friends and adding people to their list was work. It is not. Same thing for Twitter, Facebook, Ello, or whatever the next social media craze is. It's not work. You can use it in a good way, but don't start confusing it with real action. Never confuse movement with action.
I tell my clients, take a look at the way that you've gotten business in the past. So look at all your clients or customers. Look at how you attain those clients or customers. And if social media isn't one of those, if you have never gotten a single customer from social media is busy work. It might be a nice thing to do, but it's not directly bringing money into your business. So you want to focus on the things that do bring money into your business. On the other hand, if you are using social media and you are actually making money from it, you can actually relate the time you spend on social media to the sales you bring into your business, then it's not a waste of time. But there are not many people I find that can do that.
It's very frustrating as an entrepreneur to go on a social media outlet such as Facebook, and you see somebody that appears to be doing well based on the number of friends that they have, the number of interactions that they have. But I can tell you that is extremely deceiving. It's like that person that you know with 5,000 friends on Facebook. That's the guy, if he's got to move, can't find a friend to help him move. If he wants to go see a movie, can't find a friend to help him go see a movie. It's deceptive. Don't fall for it. Real business is not done on Facebook 99% of the time. Certainly not to the extent that you see these guys with 5,000 friends and a lot of interaction.
What would you say, David, about being on multiple social media platforms? Do you think that entrepreneurs should find the one platform that their target market uses most often, or spread yourself around multiple platforms? Because when it comes to social media as a time suck, it can be really hard to go and try to be present on all these platforms.
I think it's good to have just one. And I think it's good to do that one really, really well. I'm going to give you the other music business example. It also works with books. It also works with anybody who's selling anything with retail, but something we used to do. Let's say you're a book author. It's better for you to sell all your books via one store. Send all your customers to, let's say, Amazon if you're doing it online, or Barnes & Noble if you're doing it offline, because the internal company memos and sales charts and people will start to recognize all the people coming to you. Now, you could have the same 1,000 customers, let's say, but imagine if those 1,000 customers were spread out and each of the customers went to a different store and bought one book. That is not as much of an impact as 1,000 people going to one chain or one store. Same thing with social media. So focus like a laser beam. You're not trying to spread light to the entire world, just that one little spot.
Rule number 10 is always edit. Always edit yourself. You're not going to get it right the first time, but don't edit yourself while you're creating. You need to have that time to be creative, to write things, to get everything out of your brain, the brain dump, and then you need to go back and edit.
Well, you know this because you're still in the middle of a book project. And when you are writing, it stinks for you to self-edit. The words don't even get on the paper. And it probably takes you 5 times as long as it would if you were just to write it all on paper and then edit it later.
That has been one of the most challenging things for me when I write a blog post or write my book, is to not edit myself. But it's something I'm constantly practicing, is just to get the words on the paper or create what I need to create and then go back and perfect it.
Have you ever had that moment where you wrote something, you're like, man, I'm tired, it's not that good, and you go to sleep on it, and you come back and edit it the next morning, and it's actually not that bad?
Yes.
Yeah, I do that with this podcast all the time. We edit this podcast. We didn't do that when we first started. I think the first 12 or 13 episodes, no edits. We're like, nope, no edits, and this is how it is. This is real entrepreneur development, and it's real. But we found out pretty quickly that we could have 10 times the impact, give you as a listener more respect by whittling it down. And we make a lot of mistakes, although you wouldn't know it because what you're hearing has been edited.
It's been edited.
Sometimes heavily edited.
Only on off days.
You're not always going to be on. That's a great point. You need to edit sometimes more than others, but editing is a great way to polish your content without censoring yourself. And I think that's what this is really about. Always edit, but not while you're creating, not while you're writing.
Number 11 is don't lead by committee.
On the previous episode of Red Podcast, which is at redpodcast.com/81, if you want to hear the first part of this series, rule number 5, we talked about the only time a vote counts is when there is money attached, sort of related to this. Don't lead by committee when you are getting feedback for your product, Love Your Face, the business formerly known here as Project X. You asked for feedback, and you had a lot of different feedback. None of it really agreed with each other, though.
True. Some people liked some things that other people disliked, and vice versa. And if you're trying to appease everybody, you're going to be all over the map, and you're not going to appease anybody.
The feedback that matters, the committee that matters, is the committee that comes forward with the money. An example my father told me, my father has a doctorate, and one of the guys he was in school with was doing a dissertation at the same time, and my father told me the story of taking the dissertation to the staff. They told him to change it. He changed it. He changed it. Took it back to him. They told him to change it again. And the whole thing was a big circle because in the very end, he ended up with the same dissertation that he had originally. And that's what I think happens when you lead by committee. You've got to have the vision. You've got to have the foresight and the fortitude to push forward. And sometimes other people aren't going to see that.
I like getting feedback from other people, and I think that's an important part of the process of growing your business and of making things better and knowing how to edit yourself. But if you just get pulled this way and that way because of other people's opinions, that's when you really don't get anywhere. So you do have to have the vision for what you want to create, and the feedback can help you get there, but you just don't want to get off on a tangent path because someone on the committee doesn't like what you're doing.
Number 12, lead by pulling, not by pushing. People want a leader, not a boss. You've had various employees over the years, Laurel.
I have.
Are you a tough master?
Not
or a
yet.
benevolent king?
I'm working on my leadership skills, that's for sure.
Well, I am too. And I'll give you an example that's at the very opposite end of this. I took a leadership course one time, and I took my key employee, the woman who was running the conference that I used to own. I did a test, and they told me I was a free-range boss.
I believe
which meant that I gave her no direction, just expected her to take care of it. So I've learned that there's a really fine line. People want you to lead the field, and they want to follow you, but they don't want to be pushed into battle.
I like that you say lead by pulling, not by pushing, but I also think that's the direction that a lot of marketing is taking these days, is that you want to do that pull marketing where you pull people towards your business and not push them to buy your products. I think there's a big difference there, and the trend is going towards that pull side.
The old saying goes, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And that's what I think about when I think about pushing. You can make somebody do something, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be happy about it. It's better to set the example, show people what's possible, and let them join you. Open the door, let them walk through.
Number 13 is don't reward bad behavior.
Man, this is one that I see a lot of online guys get caught up in. And I'll give a couple examples of that. I saw one guy making a considerable amount of money online, and he's a lot of people that don't believe him. Because sometimes you see these things online, and you're thinking, man, that guy's making $10,000, $20,000 a month. That's impossible. It's just beyond the realm of possibility for most people. So because of that, you have a lot of people that don't believe it, and they'll come out online and forums and blogs and Twitter and podcasts, and they'll say, no way is this true. It couldn't be true. It's not possible. And basically what they're saying is, I don't believe that it's possible. So I've seen a couple of people do this where they'll actually call the people up and try to have a private meeting, get on Skype. Hey, let me log in my bank account and show you that this is actually true what I'm saying, trying to win over this one troll. You're giving a troll power when you do that. You're giving that one guy a voice when you're ignoring the other 99.9% of people who believe it, who've seen the proof already, and you're rewarding bad behavior, which only encourages other people to come out and do the same thing because they're getting that personal attention that a lot of your audience would like.
The key, I think, is to set up boundaries. And you're talking about bad behavior in terms of feedback or things you hear on the internet, but it can also be in terms of if you have a client Zilla, a client who's awful to work with, you don't want to reward bad behavior. So you really want to set boundaries early on. You want to set expectations and rules about how you work with people, what you offer, what you're not going to do, things like that. That helps things get really clear between you and your client or your customers. So you don't want to reward that bad behavior, and that might mean letting some people go. If you have a customer or client who's not a good fit and is not behaving very well, it might be time to say goodbye to them.
Yeah, I'm talking about the public situations of this because we don't see the private ones. We've certainly experienced them. Another example of this that you'll see is when somebody comes out with a book and there'll be a guy who will give them maybe a 1-star rating. And you'll see the author come in with a comment, "Oh, I'm so sorry I disappointed you. So sorry," and offer to make it up with like a personal coaching session or buy the book back or give them $100 for wasting their time or whatever the remedy is. But that only encourages more bad reviews. Your book is not for everybody, and it's not going to get 5-star reviews all the time, especially if you're selling a lot of them. So don't reward bad behavior. It just gets more of it. We got a dog. What would happen if we rewarded bad behavior?
You do that. So our dog begs for food and expects treats every 5 minutes.
That's what happens. Don't do it with your customers.
But he's cute, so it makes a difference.
He's nice, too.
And he's nice.
He's not a jerk to me.
Number 14 is invest in good people, not just skills. Good people are not that common. And if you can find good people, you can teach them the skills that they need.
Another thing we see on Shark Tank all the time, new entrepreneurs come into the tank. The sharks are up there, the investors are up there, and they don't particularly like the idea being pitched, but they like the people behind them. And I've hung out with a lot of VC people, a lot of investors, a lot of guys with money, and that's exactly what happens. The ideas can be changed, but good people are really tough to find.
And vice versa. Sometimes there'll be a really great product on Shark Tank, and the sharks won't invest because they don't like the owner of the business. So that's something to keep in mind, too.
We do that with clients, too. Sometimes somebody will come up to us, and they'll want us to help them with their business, get more sales, do marketing help. And if we don't connect with them on that personal level, even though it might be a fun project to work on, we're not going to take it.
Exactly. You do want to be working with great people. You want to invest in good people and just surround yourself with people that are smarter than you as well.
And speaking of working with good people, at the beginning of the year, we are starting a coaching mastermind group. It's called Red 3X. We're taking applications for it now. You may have heard the special edition podcast episodes that I've been releasing. And if you haven't, go to redpodcast.com to listen to those. It's a series of entrepreneur problems and how to fix them. If you're in the trenches and you want to work with people that are in the trenches, you don't want to just be thrown in some kind of group coaching that really isn't coaching at all, more like a message board. This is the solution for you. It's one-on-one help. You'll work directly with me and Laurel. There's a group element. We're only accepting 7 people, and 7 hardworking entrepreneurs will be in this group for you to join, for you to connect with. Relationships will be formed, connections will be made, and knowledge will be shared. If you're looking to make more money, more importantly, if you're looking to have more freedom, live the life that you want on your terms, Red 3X may be for you. Check out the special episodes for more information on the type of people that we're looking for. And if you're ready to apply, redpodcast.com/apply is the application. Laurel and I will personally be going through those. We will contact you for an interview. And if we think you're a good match for the program, we will continue the conversation. But check that out, redpodcast.com. Apply if you're interested in making 2015 your best year ever. It's going to be exciting, isn't it, Laurel?
I am really excited to get that started. So we got a couple months before we get it rolling, but I think we're going to have a great group.
But that's why we're starting so early on this, because we are going to make sure that we have the very best people. We don't like working with jerks. We like working with cool people. They work very hard. They work very smart. And because this is a group program with also some one-on-one interaction, we want people that we can work well with and personally like, but also that will add value to the group. So it's a great thing. It's something you've not seen before. It's called Red 3X, and go to redpodcast.com/apply. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. If you've got questions or comments, go to redpodcast.com. You can listen to past episodes. You can reach out to me and Laurel personally, and you can find more about Red 3X. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time on the next Red Podcast.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.